Welcome back, one and all. I'm Artie Decker, your host, of course, for this PSN Week 5 already in this high school football season. Let's take a look back to last week and just take a peek at the scores. We got this Wetumpka knocking off Buckhorn. I thought Buckhorn might have an opportunity to be in a little bit bigger program there, but was unable to pull the upset as Wetumpka holds serve. Isabel, or rather, Linden actually beats Isabella, not suffering the letdown I thought was possible coming off the big win over Maplesville. Looking on, we have Bart Sessions and the Titans come so close to finally getting that first win and snapping their streak. I believe now it's up to 8 games over Bob Jones, but Bob Jones sneaks out of there with a late touchdown and the win in that one. Hewitt Trustwell, no letdown from them. They take out a struggling Spain Park. Hoover bounces back with a nice, impressive win over a good Oak Mountain team. Um, Huntsville actually pulls the upset and beats Coach White and Sparkman in that one. Kind of a shocker there. Thompson takes care of business in that one. We actually, I believe, picked Athens to beat Hazel Green, and Hazel Green just wasn't having it as they blow them out. Kind of a surprise there. Looking on, we have Chalkville blowing out Gardendale. I did not see the margin of victory, but did see them winning that football game. Um, Dale Pruitt and his Aggies continue to struggle as they go down to Coleman in a shutout fashion, 21-0. We did pick Coleman though, so not a big shocker on that one. Looking on, Huffman a big win over Pell City. Decatur takes care of business in that one. McAdory just quietly taking care of business as the season goes on with another solid win. Muscle Shoals bounces back after a heartbreaker last week to Hartselle and smashes Mae Jemison 46-12. Looking on the big matchup, everybody's this is the time. This is the time. Oxford's finally going to step up and be the team that people have wanted them to be for the last 5 years. Nope, not happening. Bo Nix and company go in there and get the big win in a very difficult place to play, being at Oxford. So congrats to Coach Nix on that one. Uh, Looking on, let's look at that Brewer Madison County, a big raging game there. Madison County really struggling, losing Tate Rubens and losing Matt Flint from last year. Brewer really showing some improvement over the last really couple of years as they get a big win there and helping their playoff hopes tremendously. Alexandria just takes out their frustration after losing a tough one to Boaz on poor old Crossville in that one. Sardis takes care of business. We picked this when a lot of people, you don't know what you're talking about. Scottsburg's going to get the win. Nope, not happening. East Limestone able to come out of there with the W. Um, Looking on, we have Etowah just taking care of business over Southside. Gunnersville, I'll be straight with you. This was a team we had them, dead on the side of the road. Now all of a sudden, they upset Scottsboro. They took care of business and beat Arab. And now they're back in the playoff hunt. Believe it or not, after such a horrible start to the season. Looking on, we have that's a big win for Central Clay County. Moody's a pretty good little team, and they blow them out. There's an upset. Mortimer Jordan knocks off Sylacauga 12-7, and Sylacauga, I believe, come into that game ranked number 6. So that's a big win for Mortimer Jordan in that one. Looking on, St. Clair continues to struggle. Big matchup there. I believe this was a 3 versus 6 battle of Viger and Jackson. And, I did not expect this kind of game. I did pick Viger, but I did not expect no blowout. So that's an impressive win for Viger in that one. Briarwood just takes care of business over Winona in a pretty impressive fashion with a shutout. Um, Looking on, that's a crazy game there between American Christian and Montevallo, 70-54. That's like basketball, literally. That's crazy. Hillcrest Evergreen. This was a big statement game. We are here in 4A football. You better get to know us because UMS Wright and Delusion have been battling it out in that region, and a lot of people thought, well, Hillcrest Evergreen taking the step up won't be able to play with both of them. They go and play in Delusion and just blow them out 41-10. So all of a sudden, Hillcrest Evergreen saying, hold up, wait a minute, just don't be crowning UMS Wright just yet. Uh, Aniana takes care of business. Another nice win for them. They've really improved a lot. Coming off the last really 2 3 years of just struggling. So congrats on that. Looking on Cherokee County with a hard fought win over White Plains. UMS Wright we spoke of take care of business. Actually give up a touchdown this week. So I guess you can call that a struggle for them. DAR scoring a lot of points. What a shocker there. Wins in a shootout. Um, this was an interesting game. I believe this game started at 21-3. Holtz Bluff jumped all over them really, but Anderson was able to really play well in the second half and make it interesting. But Holtz Bluff able to hold on and get the win in that one. Jacksonville just continues to roll, winning a sort of a shootout over Cleveland County as they look forward to their battle this week with Piedmont. This was a big game. Both of these teams undefeated. A lot of people thought St. John Paul might have an opportunity to knock off the Mighty Chiefs, but no, a very impressive win, 49-7 for North Jackson, as Weatherspoon and company continue to roll. Looking on, we have big win or actually just taking care of business win for Randolph over Danville there. Looking forward here, let's look at another big win for Deschler as they blow out Wilson. Randolph County just bouncing back after the heartbreaking loss to Piedmont, taking care of business in that one. Susan Moore blows out Brindley, not a shock there. This is that story we talked about last week, 4-0, first time I had a program in a very long time. Now get another win over a good little Bullock County team. So they continue to roll at 5-0. Congrats to Pike Road on that one. Westminster just blows out Clements just like we said they would. As they are just, we've used this term many times, a buzzsaw at this point. Geraldine goes on the road, takes care of business on over New Hope. Fultondale, just a nice win in region there over Holly Pond. Good win for Pennington in region play as Locust Fork continues to struggle. Uh, Piedmont, we talked about this. This could be the week. This could be the week they lose the big region game. We did pick Piedmont, don't get me wrong. But we said it would be tough, and it was tough. As Weaver gave them all they wanted as they hosted them, but it just wasn't enough. This was a game I kind of regret I picked Sylvania for whatever reason, but logically, I looked at this game. I felt like Plainview had made I guess, a few adjustments, improvements, whatever you like, and really played pretty well against Susan Moore and just let it get away. And then Sylvania, on the other hand, played a an improving Gaston team, but still not a very good one, and struggled with them. So in reality, we probably should have picked Plainview, and they actually do get the win. It's ugly, but it is a win. So congrats to Coach Ledbetter and his first win as Bears coach. And nevertheless, to do it against the team that you came from, I mean, that's kind of icing on the cake as they knock off Putnam and the Rams. Sachs just blowing out Pleasant Valley. Not a shocker there. T.R. Miller gets another big region win over Bayside Academy as they continue to try to solidify that program once again. This was kind of a shocker. I thought Thomasville would probably put it on Mobile Christian. It just didn't happen. Mobile Christian actually gets it in impressive fashion, 27-7 upset over Thomasville. Wellborn just taking care of a struggling Glencoe in that one. Addison taking care of a struggling Sheffield. Fife just mowing over Asbury. Luverne mowing over Central Haneyville. Not a shocker there. Aliceville This was actually a big region game. Cold Springs, I believe, had started out undefeated. They were feeling good about themselves, but Aliceville kind of splashes the water on that dreaming team, and they come back to reality as they blow them out 54-6. Uh, we talked about this could have been a trap game for Collinsville coming off the emotional disappointment of losing to five. But no, Jones and Company have a big night, 50-20, taking out the Hornets. Looking on, we have Hobart County just holding serve over Hatton in that one. Um, Reeltown, we felt like this is the first real test they've had against Lafayette, and they passed the test. Maybe not as impressive as we thought they would, but they do get the win nevertheless. Leroy just continues to try to improve week by week, and they get the win in that one. Um, this was kind of a surprise. I told you I thought Westbrook matched up well with this Ohatchee team, and evidently I was a lot more right than I thought it was. I was thinking a little more easier of a time for Ohatchee, but not quite this easy. They just had to fight, scratch, and claw. Westbrook just would not go away, but Ohatchee does get the win in that one. This was another game. I thought Ranburne, this is kind of the same situation for Reeltown. They had mowed over everybody, but they play a good, solid little Cleveland team and have some struggles on the road, but they do get the win. North Sand did not see this margin of victory. I felt like it was probably a 3 or 4 touchdown win, but not 7 touchdowns. That's just crazy. It was 42-0 at halftime. They just dominated the Rock in that one. Cedar Bluff, another game. Did not expect this kind of margin of victory. They take out Coach Powell and section with ease, 40-7. Um, Looking on Tanner, we finally the Rattlers get a W for Coach Bond in his um, first ever win with the program, and as a head coach for that matter, as they mow over a struggling Tharptown 64-14. This was a game. Gaston led it most of the way, but Woodland able to sneak out of there with a road win 45-38. Woodville uh, takes care of business over struggling Appalachian. Big region win, though, for them. Brantley had been ranked. Georgiana, we love Georgiana. Can't stress that enough. Just a dangerous, dangerous team. And they show it as they knock off Brantley in this one. Mars Hill just continues to score a ton of points, and they mow over a pretty good little Cherokee team. So congrats to them. Coach Woods and company, they needed this win to stay in the hunt for the region title, and they get it in just a wild, crazy shootout game, but they fight back and they sneak out of there with a 54-42 huge region win over Decatur Heritage. Garden takes out Donahoe, maybe their biggest, task in that region. So that could have been a really big game, region wise, for Spring Garden as they shut them out at home. Speaking of that Coosa region, you've got Faultville, Hubbard. We felt like maybe this could be your, knockout punch, if you will, to get Hubbard that region title. Not so fast, my friend. Faultville plays lights out defense. Who would have thought that? And gets the win. As Hubbard, I understand, made a lot of mistakes, according to Coach Hampton. But they threw a pick six as they were trying to drive the tide up, and Faultville gets a huge win, 19-6. And all of a sudden, Faultville is kind of in that driver's seat as they've kind of got it right there in front of them. Looking on, let's look at Maplesville bounces back in a blowout fashion. No surprise there. Lynette starting to, I think they're starting to crank up just a little bit as they get a very impressive win over a good little Notasulga team. Looking on, Marengo have been playing really well, but St. Luke's, Jermaine Brown and company get the win in that one. Pickens County just gets out another win. They've done it pretty much all season so far, just gutting them out, but a win nevertheless. Waterloo, we talked about ton of points, 43 no big deal. That quarterback is really dangerous as he helps them get the win over Phillipsburg Creek in that South Lamar, big region game. They get the win in that one. Pretty much kind of takes control of that region for them. This was a game. If there was a sliver of playoff hope between the two, the winner would actually get to keep that. The other one, you pretty much just you're not going to be in the playoffs. It's kind of not going to happen for you. And Coach Vincent Company, I felt like could put it together enough to go on the road and beat an improving, not a very good, but an improving Galesville team. But evidently just wasn't to be, as Galesville gets the win at home. And as I say, keeps a sliver of hope for the playoffs alive. Wadley gets a big win. Raglan just rolls over Victory Christian. That's a huge win for them as they have struggled so far this season. Central Phoenix goes on the road to Opelika. Just gets a very impressive win there. Um, let's look at Boaz and Pisgah. We talked about this game. Boaz is on a roll. I mean, so don't take anything away from Pisgah. They're still improving, but just a little too much power in that one as they get the 21-point dub going forward. Uh, so let's give out our team of the week from last week. Not a whole lot of really good candidates, so we're just going to go with a semi upset, but just a big win. And we're going to go with Faultville as they get a win that at least gives them a share, if not the whole region title, as they knock off R.A. Hubbard in a pivotal region battle. But let's look at our polls. Central Phoenix still holding strong at number 1. Hewitt Trustful at number 2. Nothing really changes anywhere really in 7A. Sparkman drops back, I believe, 2 or 3 spots, and that's pretty much the only movement. Penson Valley moves to number 2 in 6A and also has 4 first place votes after knocking off uh, Clay Chalkville and Oxford in consecutive weeks. Very impressive for them. Spanish Fort just kind of sneaking up the board there at number 3, just quietly, and Oxford tumbles to number 6. St. Paul holding strong at 10. Most shows at 12. Opelika all of a sudden is 1-4. But they played like murderers row type schedules. So that's the reason they're still getting some love in the poll. Briarwood still number 1. Viger goes to number 2 though and sneaks ahead of Etowah to that very impressive win over Jackson. And I believe this is the highest they've been ranked since 09 to my understanding, as they get 2 first place votes this week. Masson Academy, people have just tried to put dirt on this program for the last 2 years really, and they just quietly are number 5 in 5A. You move them up, they just keep winning. You just can't kill them. Jackson falls slightly to 8. Boaz is your finally ranked football team. First time since 03, to my understanding, that they have been ranked. It's also the first time since 1977 that this team's been 5-0. So congrats to the Pirates, as they are just coming out of the woodwork basically. And Mortimer Jordan sneaks in the top 10 with their upset win over Sylacauga. Speaking of Sylacauga, they dropped to 12. Central Clay County, I believe, goes to about 15 there. East Limestone as well. UMS Wright still holding strong at number 1, but Hopes Bluff has a first place vote this week. Evergreen, we talked about them. They're at number 3. Jacksonville, red hot at number 6. North Jackson still holding strong at number 9. Andalusia, taking 2 losses there, but still at number 12. Looking on, Sachs still holding strong. Piedmont, I believe, picked up some votes, though, at number 2 for first place. Mobile moves up to number 3 with their upset win. Randolph slides to 4. Winfield is first time they've been ranked this high since like 06. Fultondale holding strong. T.R. Miller quietly 4-0. Thomasville tumbles to number 8. And Westminster red hot. still no love at number 11. Weaver, heartbreaking loss, but still very talented at number 15, roughly. Um, 5 still number 1. Luverne gets first place vote this week. Real holding strong at number 3. Ohatchee also first place vote at number 4. Thorsby still rolling at 5. Cedar Bluff at 7. Addison at 9. Ramburn at 10. Aliceville picks up a few votes and they move up to 12. Goshen there, falling hard to about 14. Howard County sneaking up the board there at 15 and Collinsville at 16. Looking on to 1A, Lynette still holding strong. Linden kind of creeping up the board a little bit on them. Maplesville 3. St. Luke's moves up hard to number 4. South Lamar, first time since the early 2000s, I believe '06 also, that they've been ranked this high. Elba, for some odd reason, gets first place vote this week. I don't really understand that. I know they did get the blowout win, but it was against a struggling Florala, but nevertheless, a first place vote for them. Marengo drops to 7. Georgiana sneaks back up in the polls at 8. And Pickens at 9. Brantley holding after getting beat at number 10. Thought we'll get some love this week as they move to 11. Mars Hill's moving up to number 12. Isabella falls out of the polls at 13. Sweetwater finally falls out at 14. Wadley at 15. And Garden gets some love at 17. Um, it's time for everybody's favorite new segment as Brock Bennett asks the question, and it pertains to the Fort Payne and Etowah game. He says, Artie, does Fort Payne have a chance to upset Etowah? And to be honest with you, they've made a lot of improvements. You know, we picked against them going on the road to May Jemison. They come out of there with a miracle win. That was huge. I think building confidence going forward, especially offensively. Um, they had the week off. They had a lot of injuries early in this season. Maybe the week off, they can get some of these kids back. Etowah just really has been playing well. I don't foresee them actually coming in there and kind of taking Fort Payne lightly, but I do think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what people think, but I just cannot make the pick to say that Fort Payne will actually pull the upset. So I'm going to say no on that one, but it will be closer than you think. But I do like the Blue Devils to get the win. Looking on here, we have Nikita. He asked, and this pertains to last week going forward, talks about Pisgah coming off the loss to Boaz. Does this loss cause them to spiral out of control, or can they keep that positive momentum going with a win at section over Coach Powell and his lines? This is a tricky game because, and I think it's a very pivotal game going forward for Pisgah. Pisgah's got a lot of big hopes, a lot of big dreams. They got a lot of football in front of them that could really make this season special. I mean, they're still in the chase for the region title. I mean, it's there. They control their own destiny. As they still have got to play all the big boys going forward. This schedule is set up perfect for them. They've had the slow start. I think they're building week by week. Um, you know, I'm sure they looked at the schedule, when they made it out 2 years ago and thought Boaz is really struggling. This might be a chance to get a good win. But unfortunately, Boaz is playing some lights out football as they found out last week. Um, I think team for team, Pisgah's the better team over section. Not by a giant margin, but I think they just have just a little bit of an edge. But I'm curious to see. I felt like starting out, there was so much buzz around the program. My understanding, 40, 50 kids showed up when they found out that Coach Pruitt had come out there. And there was so much buzz around it. And they started out so well, getting these wins over these, not great competition, but wins nevertheless. And wins build confidence. It's always been said winning breeds winning. And it's curious to see after they finally lose and they finally see that, hey, we may not be as good as we thought we were, can they bounce back? And I'm going to say yes, but I don't think it's going to be an impressive fashion. I kind of foresee a game the way they beat New Hope. I believe it was 13-0, somewhere along them lines. So I would say probably this is a game that will be pretty close, but I do like Pisgah to get the win just because I think they might be a little more physical, as Section has kind of lost a lot of steam since that Fife game. Uh, so I'm going to have to give the edge to Coach Pruitt and his Eagles in that one. All right, let's look at this week's rundown. You got Rock going into Spring Garden. This is the perfect year for Spring Garden to schedule the Rock because they've just caught them on a perfect note. Rock's really struggling. Garden's playing some pretty good ball. Probably going to be your front runner to win that region that they're in now. And I'm going to go with Garden, and I'm going to say this thing could get ugly. I think Garden is just that much better than Rock. Looking forward here, Viger should get the win in that one over Murphy. Looking on, let's look at St. Paul's and Spanish Fort. You want to talk about a good little football game? This will be a good little football game. Tours are really good at home, but St. Paul, they got that chip on their shoulder. They're the new kid in this class, and they want to show that they can do it at the bigger level. Ah, it's going to be really tough to pick this one. I'm going to say Spanish Fort wins it at home, though, in a really close one. But a great opportunity for St. Paul to justify that they are as good as they say they are. Looking on, we have Crossville going to Springville. Springville is not that bad a team. Uh, the record really won't show it, but they played some really tough opponents, and Crossville is really struggling. It's a great opportunity for Crossville to get a win, but I don't know if they can do it on the road. I'm gonna go with Springville in a close one in that one. Looking on, let's look at Coosa Christian coming off the big win over Decatur Heritage, going into Victory Christian. Victory coming off a kind of a bizarre loss to a struggling Raglan team, 53-14. Can they bounce back? This is a classic trap game for Coosa, though. Can they stay focused and really execute and not look ahead to that big matchup next week at Faultville? That's going to be the big key. If they play like they can, this thing can be a blowout. But can they stay focused? That's going to be the key. But I do like Coosa to win it, and I can't foresee them blowing them out. I think just for that factor, this game could be close for a while. Decatur Heritage should bounce back in that one. Waterloo rolling over Lynn and another nice win for them. This is a big game. You got Dale struggling Aggies going in that red hot pirate Boaz team, and I just I've looked at this thing all possible ways, and I don't know how long it's been since Boaz had beat him. It seems like a very long time. You'd have to look it up to be for sure on that one. But I like Boaz to actually win this game, and it would not surprise me if it didn't win it in a blowout fashion over a struggling Aggie team. Alexandria should get the win in that one and keeping their playoff hopes alive. Looking forward here, let's look at that Briarwood Hartsville game. Man, oh man, this is going to be a good one. Two good physical teams. They're not flashy. They just like to hit each other in the mouth. If you like good old school football, this is probably going to be a game for you. Um, wow. Uh, I would probably give Hartsville just a little bit of the edge on that one, but it's going to be close. Buckhorn going in Sparkman. Sparkman will probably bounce back as Buckhorn just really hasn't played very well this year in that one. Looking forward here, let's look at Cedar Bluff going into Gillsville. Gillsville coming off the win over Valley Head. They're playing better ball, but Ivory Star and Company probably just a little too strong for them, as I like the Tigers to roll as usual in that one. Looking on, let's look at Cherokee County going into Weaver. Weaver coming off that heartbreaking loss to Piedmont. Cherokee County just playing some decent ball. Would not surprise me a bit to see Weaver beat them, but I do like Cherokee County to maybe sneak out of there with a close win, just because of the size factor. Um, Looking on, let's look at Colbert County and Dashler. This is a good game, good measuring stick game for Colbert County especially. They have big dreams of coming down to that 2A level and having some playoff hopes. And Dashler has looked good at times, but at other times not so good. So it's kind of who shows up for them. Be a big opportunity for confidence if Colbert County could go in there and get a win. But I do like Dashler probably sneak out of there with the W. Cold Springs come back to reality as we spoke of earlier. Alice will just rolled over them. I like them to get back on winning track and knock off their rival Appalachian. Looking forward here, let's look at wow. No disrespect, but this is kind of the loser bowl because Friendly Mountain is awful and Douglas is awful. This is one of those games I'd be excited for either coach, really, because this might be your only opportunity to win a football game. I mean, this might be the only chance you have of preventing of being winless. Oh man, uh, two really bad teams. But I don't know. I got to give Douglas just a little bit of an edge in winning this one in a close one. Looking forward here, let's look at East Limestone and Athens. Athens trying to come off that kind of bizarre loss last week. East Limestone got a big win at Scottsboro. I like them to actually go in there, play well, but I think Athens will bounce back and sneak out of there with the win. Etowah, as we talked about, going into Fort Payne, we'll take Etowah on that one, but closer than you think. Florence going into Muscle Shoals. Florence playing some pretty good ball, but Muscle Shoals got back on track last week. I like them to go ahead and sneak out of there with a close one. This game we talked about last year really, pushed it hard. Thought it would be a great showdown, and it was for the most part. But no, this is gonna get ugly fast. Fife is probably head and shoulders better than Plainview. I know Plainview's improved over the last 2 weeks. They gotta have a little bit of confidence coming into this game. It is at home. I understand that, but yeah, Fife and company are gonna roll. Pyron, uh, Anderson, it's gonna get ugly. I like Fife big on the road in that rivalry game. Gaston going into Pleasant Valley. It's not going to be a Pleasant Valley for Gaston. I think Pleasant Valley will get the win quite easily in that one. Georgiana going to Goshen. This is a good little game because Georgiana, we spoke about coming off the big upset win in their classification. They could step up. Goshen got knocked off last week. Can Goshen bounce back? Great opportunity for Georgiana to really pull another upset in that one. Geraldine going into Sardis, two really evenly matched teams. Sardis kind of blew out Geraldine last year at home. Um, you know, the quarterback played phenomenal. He's gone though, so it's a new quarterback. But the Presley kid is really playing well, and it is at home. I do like Sardis to sneak out of there with a close home win. Glencoe going into Hopes Bluff. That game's going to get ugly fast. I like Darian Meads to run it wild on that one and win big. Looking forward here, let's look at Hanley and Onnet. This is actually going to be a very interesting game. Hanley's made a lot of improvements, but Lynette's starting to pick up some steam after that first opening loss that I think kind of woke them up to Valley. And it's going to be a good little measuring stick game for Lynette. And I think they will get the win. I don't think it'll be a blowout, though. Helena going in the south side. I like Helena in that one actually to sneak out of there with a win on the road. Uh, that Hillcrest and Bob Jones should be interesting. Hillcrest not playing very well. Bob Jones really hasn't played well either. So, but I like Bob Jones to maybe sneak out of there with a win in that one. You got Ider going into Valley Head. Ider, played with Collinsville for a little bit last week, and also, the week before beat or well, beat section nonetheless. So, big confidence builder there. And Valley Head coming off a very disappointing loss to Yellowville. I like Ider big in that one. Just too much Jacob Higdon for Valley Head to handle. Uh, Pennington going into Cleveland. I guess you'd call this a semi upset. I like Cleveland to actually win the game. Pennington 3A, Cleveland 2A, but I do like them to sneak out of there with a W in that one. Looking on Lafayette and Otasoga, look for Lafayette to get the win in that one. Um, Luverne and Brantley. Brantley coming off the disappointing upset loss. Luverne, they're good, but I don't know if they're great. Be interesting to see how they respond to a challenge from Brantley. Uh, but it would be great for them if they could find a way to blow them out going forward. Madison County going into New Hope. Madison County's really struggling. New Hope seems like they improve week by week, but I don't know. I think Madison County probably sneaks out of there with that rivalry win. Maples will going into Reeltown. Wow. Whoever scheduled this one, bless your heart. This is a great matchup. Maplesville 2 weeks ago lost, maybe knocked them off their pedestal just a little bit. And Reeltown's trying to prove themselves, and they got the win last week in the region showdown. Uh, Kind of a measuring stick game for Reeltown. I know that sounds weird playing down to a 1A school, but they're trying to prove that they are a threat to win that 2A title. So if they can go out and they can kind of, you know, handily take care of Maplesville, maybe that spurs them on to that goal. Marshall playing lights out ball, but they going into Brooks. Brooks is probably just a little too much athleticism for him. I think it'll be close, but I like Brooks to actually get the win and finally slow down this Morris Hill team. Uh, Looking forward here, let's look at Mumford and Lincoln. Mumford coming off a nice little win, getting back on track. Lincoln, some good wins early. I like probably Mumford, though, to actually sneak out of there with a win and a close one. Ohatchee going into Leeds. This ain't your grandpa's Leeds. They're really struggling. Ohatchee didn't play that great last week. Look for them to bounce back, really play well this week, and maybe win this thing in blowout fashion. Um, Pickens County, not playing very well, going into Aliceville. I like Aliceville, maybe in a blowout in that one. This is probably your game of the week. Piedmont going into Jacksonville. We've sung the praises of Jacksonville. It's at home. They're playing really well. They, for the most part, you could make a case that they're the favorite, but I know most people are actually picking Piedmont. But I like Jacksonville to actually get the win in a close one over Steve Smith. I know I said I don't pick against them, but I'm going to pick against them this week. Um, just that running back, he's coming off a 409-yard game, really playing well. And Piedmont, they've been in two battles the last 2 weeks. Maybe they're a little emotionally drained. And going on the road, I think this could be the week that Jacksonville knocks them off. Pike Road going into Headland. Don't know a whole lot about Headland, but I would say Pike Road will probably get the win in that one and move to 6-0. Pisgah, as we talked about going in section, we like Pisgah to sneak out of there with a win as they will approach region play after this week. Priceville going into Faultville. Faultville coming off that big win. Priceville is just not very good. Faultville big probably in that one. Hubbard coming into Sheffield. They're looking to bounce back. As I said, Coach Hampton not very happy with the results of last week. Sheffield really struggling. Be a close game. Would not surprise me at all if Hubbard did not get the win in that one. Raglan coming off 53 points. A big win for them. They desperately needed. They go into West End. West End can't stop anybody. Actually, I kind of like West End to have just a little bit more for Raglan in this one and sneak out of there with a win. Ranburn playing really well going into Wadley. Being good measuring stick game for Wadley. They've made some improvements over the last 2 3 weeks. They actually led Lynette in that game, I believe, 2 weeks ago at halftime. So I mean, they've shown that they're pretty good. But I do like Ranburn to actually get the win in that one. Randolph playing really well going into Westminster. This game, not a lot of people would say much about this, but this is going to be a great matchup. And that Buzzsaw is going to have their hands full with this good Randolph team. But I like Westminster to keep it rolling, maybe sneak out of there with a close one in that one. Randolph County going into Woodland. Woodland's made a lot of improvements, but that Battle of Wadawi probably won't go so well for them in this one. I like Randolph to maybe a little closer than you think, but get the win in that one. Scottsboro going into North Jackson. Scottsboro coming off a tough loss to East Limestone. CJ Yarborough, to my understanding, had a big game to give them the loss in that one. North Jackson, Lee Weatherspoon, man oh man, that kid. So many athletes. Scottsboro probably just not enough speed to go on the road and get the win in Stevenson. Look for North Jackson to keep it rolling, and this could be closer than you think, but I do like North Jackson to get the win. Looking on, let's look at Susan Moore going in Aniana. This game is interesting. Susan Moore undefeated, playing really well, but Aniana really improved. It would not surprise me at all if Aniana couldn't find a way to get the win in this one. But I do like Susan Moore maybe to sneak out of there with a close one on the road. Sylvania going into North Sand. Sylvania's really struggling. I mean, really struggling. Only had 82 yards rushing last week. This is a team that last year would have 300 and 400 yards rushing. So I mean, they offensive line is just not ever meshed at all this season. They cannot move the football. The quarterback throws a lot of picks. They are just really struggling to move the ball, and they roll into a North Sand team coming off a very impressive win at home over struggling Rock. So it's definitely not the medicine for the Rams this week. I like North Sand in a blowout. I like Landon Green and company to roll over them, throwing the ball, running the ball, however you want to look at it. Just too much Bison in that one. Big matchup here. T.R. Miller. We talked about them trying to solidify themselves. New coach, Coach Etheridge, doing his thing down there. Hillcrest Evergreen playing really well, trying to cement themselves in that new foray for them. I I don't even know. I would probably give Hillcrest Evergreen just a little bit of edge to sneak out of there with a close win. Looking forward here, let's look at Thomasville going to Leroy. This is going to be a long night for Leroy. They're making improvements, but Thomasville is coming off that disappointing loss. Look for them to bounce back and win it big in that one. Thorsby playing really well going into Isabella. Isabella coming off the loss to Linden last week. This won't be the bounce back, though. I think Thorsby gets a close win, if not a blowout win, in that one. Looking on, let's look at Vestavia going in Shades Valley. Shades Valley is really struggling. Vestavia playing some pretty good ball. Look for them to roll in that one. Vinemont playing really well. Rolls into Addison, who's also playing some pretty solid ball. Uh, this could be really close, but I would probably have to give Addison just a little bit of edge to sneak out of there with the win. Looking forward here, let's look at West Limestone and Clements. I'd probably give Clements just a little bit of edge to sneak out of there on that one. West Morgan not playing very well. Brewers should get the win in that one. And that pretty much wraps us up for the week. I'm your host, Artie Decker, saying goodbye. Have a fantastic week. Go out and enjoy some of these games, as this will be one of the last weeks before we really hit the stretch of region play to kind of take you a little bit of a breath and get ready for the rest of the season. Uh, I'm just going to sign off saying, save me a spot on the fence, and I'll see you next week. God bless, guys.